Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, our goal is to write some script to make use of our setup here. Now, just to recap, we created some surface types inside of our project settings under Engine, Physics, and here are our different labeled surface types. We then assigned a surface type to each physical material that we created. We've got PM gravel, some mud, some snow. Let's open these up and you can see that we assigned surface types within these: mud, gravel, and snow. And then what we did is we assigned a physical material to each landscape layer info object. And here I've got my different landscape layer info objects, and inside one of these, for example, we assigned a physical material. Okay, so now you may be noticing that, hey, this project doesn't look exactly like the one we were just working in. What is going on? Well, the reason for that is because I am in a previous version of the project that I made in preparation for this course, and I just wanted to show you what we are driving towards, what we're looking to make. We're going to make it so that when our character is stepping on these different surface types here, that we're going to be playing a sound, we're going to be spawning a particle effect, and we can also leave behind a footprint. So I'm just going to jump in and play. Again, this is my tutorial playground here that I do in advance of making this project. And here we go. Okay, let me just full screen this quickly. Okay, so I sped up my character a little bit as well. So you can hear that sound. You can see those like little particles of snow that he's leaving on the ground right there. That's on my snow currently. This is a mud layer I'm going to step on. Now this is an interesting particle. I just wanted to show off something different where it doesn't have to be spawned at his foot placement perhaps. This particle is set to spawn basically at the impact point, but the particle itself is spawning up a little bit higher. So it all depends on the type of particle that you want to spawn. And then we've got our gravel layer here, spawning some explosions with each footstep, and you can see I'm leaving a trail of footprints behind. So guys, that is what we are driving towards in this video. So I'm going to jump out of here and jump into my real project that we're making for this course. Okay, back here in our project, our landscapes project, the first step we're going to need to take is to find our third-person character. You can find this in the Content Third-Person BP Blueprints folder. That is this path right down here. Double-click on your third-person character to open him up. And what we want to do in here is access our mesh component. This is, if I click on the viewport tab, our mannequin man right here. And what we want to do next is jump into our anim class here, our third person anim BP_C. I can browse to this asset in the content browser by clicking on this little magnifying glass icon. There it is. And then I want to double click on this. You can see the pathway for that right there, by the way, Content Mannequin Animations. We're going to double click on this to open it up. And this is where the magic happens for ensuring our character is playing a running or jumping animation when we want it to. Now, this is very involved. We can access our character's skeleton from here. We can view some animations. We got this thing called an animation blueprint where we script some logic. A lot of areas of this part of the editor that we're not going to dig into. We're just going to keep things focused here, and the first thing we want to do is access different animations that our character is planting his foot down, namely our run and our walk, and we want to flag those moments that our character has the right or left foot down. So right over here, we jump to this blueprint tab right away once we clicked on this asset back in the content browser. You can go ahead and double click on your third person run animation right down here in your asset browser. Just double clicking on that. That's going to jump us over to the animation tab. And you can see it is playing our animation here in this viewer. I'm just going to hit the pause button right at the bottom down here. And then I'm going to drag this little timeline slider to the left and to the right. And what I want to do is find out where my character is planting his foot down. So right about here is where he's planting his right foot on the ground. I don't have to be precise with this. And what I want to do at this particular moment in time is add something called an anim notify. Now what an anim notify is we can use these anim notifies to kick off some script to have things happen, like spawn a particle effect, play a sound, etc. So right up here in our notifies area, I'm going to right click. We're going to add a notify. We're going to add a new notify, and I'm going to create one called right foot. Okay, and then I'm going to scrub my timeline slider to about the point where our character is planting his left foot, right about there. Again, I don't have to be perfect. I'm going to right click up in the notifies area, add notify, new notify, and we will call this one left foot. Okay, so we've got some notifies set for our run animation, but we also want things to happen when our character is walking as well. So let's double click on our third person walk animation down here and do the same thing. So I'm going to scrub our timeline slider right about to the point where our character's got that right foot planted down. I'm going to right click, and this time when I add a notify, I'm going to do a skeleton notify because we just created some new notifies in the last one. We'll call this one the right foot. Then I'm going to continue on here, scrub our timeline slider. There is about the point our left foot is down. So we will right click, add notify, skeleton notifies. This is going to be the left foot. Great, now with those done, what we can do is we can move on over to the blueprint tab up here. And you're going to see some nodes out here that are already existing. And without getting too deep into the weeds, this is helping to determine which animations should be getting played. We're just going to find some empty graph space here. So this is our third person anim BP event graph. And if you got lost somewhere, you can just click on your event graph over here and that'll jump you to this graph as well. And what we can do is we can right click in some empty space and do a search for right foot. And here is an event anim notify right foot. So this event is going to fire off whenever that animation notify in our run or walk fires off. Okay? What we want to do off of this is drag out a wire and type in line trace by channel. We want to shoot out an invisible line from the location of our character down to the ground so we can see when we are impacting the ground what surface type we are on. All right, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to right click. We're going to get player character, which is us. We're going to drag a wire off of that and do get actor location. We want to find out where our actor is located. And for our return value here, we're going to plug this into the start of our line trace. And this is essentially going to be at the midpoint, the crotch area of our character. That's where we're going to start the line trace. Now we got to determine where are we going to end this line trace. Well, we simply want to shoot a wire straight down, in a line trace straight down, if you will. So we're going to drag a wire out of this, do a search for a vector minus vector node. And we simply want to subtract 500 in the Z direction. That's the up and down direction. So that is going to be our endpoint. So we're going to be starting a line trace from our character's midsection here, shooting a line 500 Unreal units in the negative Z direction here. And that is going to impact the ground. Okay, our trace channel here, we do want to be the visibility channel, but our draw debug type, we want to be able to see these line traces. So let's set that to be for duration. And the rest of this, let's click this little drop down arrow right here as well. We can see trace color and draw time 5 seconds. That's all going to be well and good. You can play with some of your colors here and how long this debug draw line is present. Okay, so once we have shot out a line trace from our character's location down to the surface, we want to extract some information from our hit. So drag a wire out of here, and we are going to, well, actually, we don't even have to search for it because once we drag and release, right here is what we want, the breaking of the hit result. That is going to provide us with all kinds of information. And I can click this drop down arrow to reveal a lot of different information. Things like what is the actor we hit, what is the impact point, the location that we hit, etc. Okay, but we also want to do something else out of the out hit here. Drag out a wire and type in get surface type. So this is what is going to provide us with what surface type did we impact. Remember, in our project settings, we labeled different surface types such as snow, mud, gravel, etc. Now, one more thing I want to do out of our return value of our get surface type is to right-click on this pin, and we're going to promote this to a variable. And as soon as we do this, it's going to prompt us to give it a name, and I'm going to call this current surface. And this is going to come into use in a few videos time here. So this is why we are going to set whatever our impacted line trace determines is the surface into a variable. So plug that in like so. Make sure you got all your wires hooked in thusly.